Yeah, baby. Yeah.
As this unit I'm building is going to be used in car racing, I'm trying to avoid it looking like a mum and dad camper or just a big square box, which is hard to do. I've come to the point where I'm looking at the design of what happens here at the back of the car camper trailer, and I always plan to have that roof coming out a little bit. I could just make that square across the back there, box that in, but that'd give it the look that I'm trying to avoid. I thought about trying to add some sort of lip or wing here, but that's not the sort of thing you have just lying around. Except, of course, at my place where I make these big aggressive wings. So I can put one right across the back here and give it just the sort of look I want. Too easy, because I've already got the wings made and in stock.
Kids buy curvy butts, good butt.
got to work out exactly where my outdoor shower is going to go now, in case I need to run the plumbing up inside the walls before I clad the camper on the inside. They may end up on the outside, but in case I need to run them inside, I need to figure it out now. So I'm going to take up the rest of this flooring and have some serious fun. When they built this caravan at the factory, the way they attached the plywood floor to the steel frame is they put self-tapping screws in each corner and one in each middle, and then just went round with a nail gun and whacked in nails. So I've taken the screws out, and now all I can do is just jemmy it off and then cut the nails off once I've got rid of the timber. I thought I'd tell you that in case you're ever silly enough to do a project like this. Oh yes, electric brakes on both axles, bonus! Now the plywood floor of the caravan is completely gone and the chassis is exposed, I can begin doing the design work for where the car is going to sit. And one of the things I want to do is I want to drop the tail of this trailer down. There's more than a few good reasons for doing this. The first is the obvious one, that it makes the trailer much easier to load, because instead of the back of the floor being up here, it's down there. So your angle of loading is lower, which means it's easier if the car's broken down, you've got to push it or winch it on. And if you've got air dams and things like that, it's easy to load the car because you haven't got steep angles. It's just an all-round win-win for loading. An even more important advantage in fitting what the Yanks call a beaver tail or drop tail to your trailer is that it lowers the centre of gravity at the back of your trailer, where the car normally on a flatbed trailer tends to sit the highest. So by lowering the back of the car down, you bring much greater stability to your towing, because the car won't tend to fishtail as much as it will with the weight that much higher up. When I bought it, this was a heavy industrial box trailer used for hauling earth moving equipment, and it had a flat floor in it. So I've done this before. I've dropped the tail, and I can tell you there's only one tiny disadvantage. Because the bottom of your trailer is lower, it can tend to catch when going through the dips of driveways and so forth. But the easy way to combat this is to fit a couple of wheels like I've done here, and so when I'm going into a driveway situation and going backwards, that'll just take the weight. I've got one on the other side as well. Problem solved. How do you know how much to drop the tail of your car trailer? Well, you get the tow ball so that it's sitting at the lowest height that it's going to be at when it's on your tow vehicle. This has got to come down a bit. Okay, so that's now at the height that it rides at on my car. At the front of this trailer, the floor is 500 mil, or half a metre off the ground. Here, I've come down to 400. Now, only dropping at 100 mil doesn't sound much, but trust me, it makes a huge difference for loading and unloading your vehicle. So to work out how much I can drop the tail of this car camper trailer that I'm making, I get my ball joint so it's sitting at the right height it will be on the car, which is 450mm off the ground. Now I can go to the back and figure out how much I can drop it. So at the moment, the Caravan chassis is 510mm off the ground, which means I can drop this tail 110mm. The final question is, how far from the tail of the trailer should I cut it to drop it? Where should I take the wedge out? Well, obviously you don't want it right at the back, otherwise you end up with a stubby little angle and it's not much help. So I want to make this as long as I can, put the cut as far from the back as I can so the slope is as gradual as I can make it. When I add the 25mm square tube framing on the outside to strengthen this, because this is too weak, I'm going to have a post about here. So that gives me a point at which to build to, so that the 25mm square tube will reinforce this box trailer member after I've cut it and welded it. So that's where I'm going to do my cut. I'm going to do my cut there. Put your floor jack under the end of the trailer and just support the weight of the tail of the trailer so that as you're cutting it, the tail won't drop and jam your blade on your angle grinder. Now we come to the bit where you need to be precise. How big a wedge do you cut out of the bottom of your main beam to get the angle of the drop of the floor right? Obviously you don't want to cut too much. There's a couple of ways you can do this. The first way is to use a computer CAD drawing program and that's right, we don't have one. The second way you can do it is by using basic mathematics. You take the curvature of the earth minus the angle of a plumb bob dropped, take away the hypotenuse and multiply it by 16.3, but yeah, okay, I failed high school maths. Here's a red line way of doing it. Just bolt a straight edge, in my case I've used timber, so that it's level with the top of the floor at the point where you're going to make the cut. And then if you come back to the tail of the trailer, you can see that I've got it so that that piece of timber is exactly, the top of it is exactly 400mm off the ground, which is the height that I want to cut it. Yes, you smarty pants are correct. That gives you the angle of the dropped floor, not the angle for the wedge cut here. So what you do is you come back to your cutting point and using a set square, you mark your beam on the slope and then you mark it where it's level, and that'll give you your wedge. In my case that gap is going to be about 5mm. The moment of truth. Well, I got the wedge right with the jack out. That is sitting at exactly 400mm off the ground. I've clearly got some welding to do, so I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching.